steeplechase champion in 2023, made the U.S. World Championship team that day. And what a beautiful day we have here in Fayetteville. So we've had 2 races down and the high school division, and a really brilliant performance in race number 1. Lily Bashirs of Rogers, the junior, 1640.4, which is really hoofing it. And she led Rogers to a team title by 9 points over Piedmont. Bashirs beat the great sister duo of Gabby Bishop and her sister Maggie Bishop, Providence Classical Christian. They finished second and third. Maggie really finishing very, very fast, moving up through the pack. That second race, again, they were seeded race, so the second race a bit slower, of course. Alexandria Johnson, who Chrissy just interviewed from Audi International, she won in 18:59.8 from Kaylee Bird of Bartlett. Katie Masters of Cabot, and Katie Masters, one of our early leaders, she led Cabot to a 51-point title in the team score over Mountain Home and Greenwood. And that sets up the stage really for a highly anticipated boys El Caliente 5K. Got a number of really compelling storylines here. And let's take a look at our key teams here. There's really 3 of them. One of the surprises on the girls' race was the performance of Piedmont, and Piedmont is going to be a factor here in the men's race as well, but this is Bentonville's probably to lose, and Wiley, Texas is another team that one should keep an eye on. Again, 3 teams from 3 different states in the southeastern portion of the United States, and Bentonville, definitely, this is kind of like, you could consider this their home course. They come here every year. And a very, very deep team led by Owen Kelly, who is also one of the favorites on the individual side. And that should be a very compelling race between Kelly, Newberry, who is the #1 ranked freshman runner in the country this year. Newberry has taken the cross-country world by storm, running 2 sub-15-minute 5Ks, one at the Carroll Cross Country Invitational, where he was second to Caden Leonard, and then he won the Plano Invitational and the Marcus Coach T Invitational, the latter in 14:46.0. Graham Stevener from Kirkwood High School in St. Louis, he's the one pictured. You do not want to get in a kick with this young man. He's a 153.14 800-meter runner, 352.11 1500, 410.89 miler. He was third in the Missouri Class 5 800 last year, and was also 10th in the Hoka Festival of Miles. And then carrying the team torch for Bentonville is Owen Kelly. Newberry, the freshman, beat him by 14 seconds in the Carroll Cross Country Invitational. It was won by Caden Leonard. Owen Kelly, a real vet, second in the Arkansas 6A Cross Country Championships last year, 49th at Nationals, 28th at Regionals. He does not have the credentials on the track that a Graham Stevener has, but he's a 4:26.38 miler, 9:25 for 2 miles. But I would be very surprised if anybody but one of these 3 to win this race. And quite frankly, these 3 are really separate from the rest of the field, and it should be a dynamite race. And the real question is going to be one of experience here, because both Stevener and Kelly are seniors. Newberry, the freshman sensation, the #1 ranked freshman runner in the country this year. So this is going to be an absolute, really intriguing race.
I'm looking forward very much to seeing the freshmen run. By the way, all 3 of those athletes are going to start pretty close together in the middle boxes. Denton Geyer's A team, Bentonville's A team, and Kirkwood. So they'll get a look at each other really fast.
And Newberry, 25th ranked overall in the country by DiceStat. Keenan Gray of DiceStat does the rankings. And he is the highest ranked athlete in this field. And I'm sure that Owen Kelly of Bentonville and Graham Stevener have seen those rankings as we get this Vegas walk of the runner space camera. These athletes a little more serious looking, Bob, than what we saw for the young ladies earlier today.
We have Deer Creek, the defending champ, team champion here, and also the Oklahoma 6A champs a year ago. Isaac Rivera Lincoln Prep was the race winner last year. There are more high school boys than any other age group here of our 4,300 entries. In these two races, the two El Calientes, a total of 690. And later, when we have this boys open race, 665. Which means the convenience stores and fast service restaurants of Fayetteville are going to be cleaned out by the end of the day.
One nice thing here is it shows the health of cross country in this country. It's a really great sight to behold. The fact that the numbers are so great. And again, the weather, 63 degrees right now. There is some wind out there. Not a lot, but some wind. Humidity is 70%. So pretty ideal conditions for running a 5K. And it should be very.
Clouds are supposed to go away too and get us maybe to 80 degrees.
Yeah, it's supposed to get up to at least the high 70s today by the end of the day. I think this team battle, Bob, is going to be very interesting because while we have cited Bentonville, Wiley, and Piedmont, this is a wide open team battle. It wasn't as clear cut as what we saw in the girls' El Caliente race 1. This could have definitely some twists and turns. Again, Bentonville, I kind of consider this their home course. They compete here every year. So that should give them some sort of advantage, but that low stick of Owen Kelly, if he can be in the top 2 or 3, that will help them a lot.
Flag is up. And we are underway with the boys El Caliente at the Chili Pepper Festival presented by Hoka.
I've always wondered, Bob, in a race the size of this, if the starter's ever been knocked down by a runner. Because they're coming so fast, and the starter just kind of stays there, and you wonder if somebody might just, knock him over.
Just by sheer force of the numbers, I'm certainly the starter's prepared to stay as thin as he can be, but if you can't see the runner in front of you, I'm sure it's happening.
So the question is, how is this race going to unfold? We mentioned Stevener, Newberry, Kelly. Will one of them start to assert their will early? It's really kind of the question that I would have. How is this cat and mouse game going to be played?
Well, so far, it is a pack. In those girl races, we literally already had a breakaway at this point.
Yes, we did.
Again, the same 5K course for the high school athletes. We saw the girls run 2 of the terraced climbs on Dog Hill and the final climb on Farmer's Daughter Hill.
There's 3 Waldron athletes in the light blue that are right near the front. But with this many runners in the lead pack, you can say the pace is quite tactical. We would know it's fast, it's the Vestavia Hills that have the 3 in the light blue. John Hayes, the nominal leader there on the left, as they ascend for the first of 2 runs on these undulating hills. You can see that Vestavia Hills group hanging together on left of picture, and a great elevation map. I actually think, Bob, that this elevation map is much better than a course map, because this really tells you the gist of what goes on in this race is elevation. And this is a beautiful, beautiful bas relief of, what they're running and where they are on the course. I just love this.
Another great innovation we have for you on all of our cross-country coverage this year at runnerspace.com. So again, the Vestavia Hills runners, now 2 of them from Birmingham.
And
The only
Bentonville in the
Alabama
black.
represented.
Yep, and Bentonville's got 2 up there, Bob, in the black. One was sunglasses. And Owen Kelly, one of the guys that we said is going to be in the team, the individual battle. There he is, number 274, Owen Kelly, and I believe that is Ruel Newberry right behind him. These 2 have raced against each other this year. And Newberry now in the lead. So here we go. Let's roll up our sleeves, and the battle that we had thought was going to happen is happening. Newberry in the lead. Owen Kelly in second. Just want to kind of find out where Stevener might be in all of this. He has the best wheels of anybody in that 153 800 meter range. But what I had mentioned before, Newberry, nobody knew this guy until this fall. 201 800 guy, 433 miler. Not a bad 2-miler, 9:11, but then something happened over the summer with this young man. And now he's the top-ranked freshman in the country and 25th in the nation. You can see he's got terrific turnover. Very relaxed.
I was going to say very easy stride.
4:45 for the first mile. That is quick. He gave it an injection of pace in that last half mile. So Ruel Newberry putting his mark on this race. Exciting to see. Bentonville and Vestavia Hills, the top 2 teams. So Newberry and Kelly, 1-2. Alan Gallardo Lopez from Fayetteville, 3. And then the Vestavia Hills, John Hayes in 4th. Carter Beasley, Bentonville, number 2, 5th. Zachary Williams, another one of those athletes that we were looking at earlier in the as a potential contender in 6th. Stevener in 9th. So Stevener hanging just 2 seconds back. And another top runner this season, Elijah Rivera Campos of Louisville Hebron in 10th. Vestavia Hills number 2, Mitchell Schaff in 11th.
So the top 11 within 5 seconds through the first mile.
And the battle has been joined between Newberry and Kelly. Now keep in mind, Bob, that Newberry beat Kelly in their last race at the Carroll Invitational. Newberry was second to Caden Leonard. Kelly was 4th. Kelly on the left, Newberry on the right.
Kelly second in the state in cross country last year as Bentonville Bentonville scored 17 points winning the state championship. They had 7 of the top 9 finishers. Matthew Shelley was the individual champ. He's graduated. But that's amazing in a state where this sport is so big, that Bentonville is so dominant.
Every year. And they have a 40-point lead over Vestavia Hills right now. Piedmont, who we had thought would be a little bit better, they certainly had a great girls race. They're in 14th and Wiley 17th. So both those teams are in trouble. Deer Creek right now in 3rd. And then there's a huge gap. 160 or so points between Deer Creek and our girls winner, Rogers. Meanwhile, on the top there, Newberry and Kelly fighting for the line for the tangents here. And a beautiful drone shot here where you can see the gap they have. And you wonder, when is Graham Stevener going to start to move up? And when is he going to make his move?
And Stevener, if he's still 9th, he may have moved up in this chase group, but if he's ninth, he's even further back with that group you can see.
And they both look good. Newberry and Kelly, and you can see they're coming to the apex of this hill for the second time. And so, really, once you get through this section, literally and figuratively, it's all downhill from here. But these guys have a chance to crack 15 minutes on this course. So this cat and mouse game between the two of them, these rivals know each other well after racing against each other at that Carroll Invitational. Newberry really does a good job running the tangents, getting to his line on the turn, and he's controlling this race from the front. Kelly content to be on his shoulder.
I'm impressed with Newberry on these hills coming from Denton, where there pretty much are no hills unless you're running the stands at North Texas Football Stadium.
And this, again, a nice drone shot where we really have kind of three races going on here. The first two, the next four, and then a couple behind them as well. We will get another split at that 3.5K mark, which was where the mile was before, but just what we thought was going to happen is happening with Newberry and Kelly, and Stevener better get on his horse and start riding it if he wants to be up with the top two here, because we only have about 5 minutes left in this race. Newberry just gives a look over his shoulder.
Newberry doesn't look very worried about traffic. He's just running his race.
A lot of moxie for a ninth grader.
Yes.
Number one ninth grader in the country. We're going to come up to the 3.5K split now. And this downhill, Bob, so he had a tenth of a second at that 3.5K. And, you know, he's a slight runner. He's small in stature. He can take those downhills very, very well. And he's opening up just a bit now on Kelly, with about 4.5 or so minutes, maybe a little bit less. See the line that Newberry's taking? He's taking right to the white line there, running those tangents, getting as close as he can, shaving off what, you know, as much as he can, running a very smart race, one you might not necessarily expect from a freshman. Behind him, Elijah Rivera Campos in third. Stevener now moving up to fifth. So Stevener, given his 800-meter speed, looks like a good shot there for third. And the other usual suspects, Alan Gallardo Lopez, Zachary Williams, John Hayes, Jackson Free, Peyton Ferkel, they're all up there. But now, look at this, Bob. Newberry really starting to open it up.
And again, good-looking stride here. He hasn't seemed uncomfortable at all yet, but definitely setting the tone. Takes a look back. He will take the left side as we look at it. So everybody's run on the grass on this part of the course so far. Maybe the collegians will like the dirt.
Some of them do. In the past, I've seen some take the dirt. Again, you're wearing spikes out there, so you can.
Kelly, so he's increased the lead over Kelly, but now Kelly's kind of holding that space.
Newberry looks so good.
Look.
He looks so good that I just don't see him losing this race at this point. I mean, this is a major town. He gives another look back. That's never a good thing. But if you watch his turnover, this is the last of the hills he really has to negotiate. If that was Stevener behind him with that 153, 800 meters and 407 mile, I might be a little concerned. But Ruel's turnover is excellent. Ruel's facial expressions are excellent. In fact, he's going so fast right now that he's almost like losing his form a little bit. What a great shot this is, right up close. God, this is a beautiful shot.
And again, another example of gravity dictating
Yep.
the pace of the runner, and he just goes with it.
He does. And look, Kelly's running a really nice race. This Newberry, the #1 freshman in the country, this kid is just a special athlete this year. Takes another look behind him.
Now we're in the chute. Almost.
Wow, what a performance this is. He's got long strides, but he also has great turnover, and that's what you want in an athlete, especially in discipline of cross country where he can just eat up that yardage despite being small. He has terrific turnover, and he doesn't appear to be at all in discomfort, and he's going to be taking the turn here very, very shortly. Kelly's still holding on for second. I got to believe that's Stevener there in third. He's going to have a terrific time.
Again, his best this year is 14:44. And here we go to the finish. Every racer's favorite view. They play Chariots of Fire for you.
Here it comes, let's go, let's cheer him on!
Hey, kudos to Owen Kelly because he had to run the last. Oh, here comes Stevener. Here comes Stevener. Can he catch Kelly? That's the question. Doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Like Kelly will hang on. Kelly ran, as you said, Kelly ran a nice race as well.
And Stevener, so the three people that we set up ahead of the race, they went 1, 2, 3, Bob. And Carson Dreimeyer of Festus finishes fourth. Great times, 14:54.7 for Newberry. Kelly 15:01.2, Stevener 15:05 flat. Dreimeyer 15:05.9. He's the first junior across the line. And there's the first Vestavia Hills runner. We're going to be watching the team board now as well. That was John Hayes, by the way, of Vestavia Hills. But Owen Kelly did his job for his team. Bentonville getting that low stick in second. By the way, Kirkwood was Stevener third and Peyton Ferkel 10th. A nice showing there by the school from St. Louis, Missouri.
Newberry 14:54, Kelly 15:01, Stevener 15:05, just ahead of Dreimeyer, and Rivera Campos from Hebron 15:17, just ahead of Zachary Williams of Cash.
So Bentonville's number 2, Carter Beasley, finishes in 27th. Vestavia Hills, Mason Thompson, 40th. If you remember, very early in the race, Vestavia Hills, 41st, actually, Vestavia Hills right up there. Yeah, yeah. Bentonville's Harper Jones, 53rd. So Bentonville and Vestavia Hills, Piedmont, 1, 2, 3 right now on the team side of the equation. Kirkwood up there now as all the precincts report. Not a great day for Wiley, but Piedmont very much in the mix here. Possibly You know, the 3, 4, 5, 6 may still have some juggling. Vestavia Hills, Piedmont, Blue Springs South, and Deer Creek all pretty close together. Wiley really struggled. Bentonville is going to win by a country mile here, though. And Kirkwood pretty much has got second locked up. And Vestavia Hills getting some separation now, 17 points on Piedmont. As the Sea of Humanity still coming through the finish line.
And it's interesting
here.
how Bentonville is constructing the team win. Kelly, obviously. And then they picked up a lot in the middle. You know, not super high finishes. Carter Beasley ended up 27th. Dishana Bea Guardene was 33rd. And Logan Hurley 44th. So as you do when you're racing for team points, every place counts, and that's why you see some, and this is why a great place when you're watching the finish line at a cross-country meet, watch those battles further back. Everybody's racing for something. A lot of times you are helping your team.
And, you know, your 6th and 7th runners can help your team a lot, too, because they push the 4th and 5th runners from other teams down. And that's really one of the arts of cross-country, is how important that 6th and 7th runner can be in terms of really knocking a hole in your opponents. So it looks like Vestavia Hills has got enough now at this point to hold off Piedmont, Blue Springs South, and Deer Creek. So the podium is Bentonville, Kirkwood, and Vestavia Hills. But what a tour de force by Bentonville to win by, you know, almost 80 points. Wow.
Well, that in itself, not a surprise, but you have to do the work. And they did. Final athletes coming across the line. Earl Newberry, if you haven't seen him yet, see what this young man could do, and we'll be very excited to see the rest of his season. All right, let's go back to the highlights of this race. And Tom, this was pretty exciting from the beginning. It was a big pack surging down the meadow and into that first climb.
Yeah, and early on, right away, Newberry and Kelly, who you see 1-2 right here, were setting the tone. And then Newberry made a little move here just before the first of that 2 sequences of hills to kind of control the race from the front. Kelly kept right on his shoulder until we get into this straightaway here. And that's where Newberry pulled away. You could see him taking a slight look over his left shoulder, knowing that this was the time that he was going to go. You could see he was going so fast by just his momentum that he almost slipped. And then it was just I want to say it was a waltz for him right across the finish line. He didn't look in any distress at any point in this race. He did look back about 3-4 times, but nobody was gaining on him. This is not Satchel Paige. And Will Newberry, 14:54.7, breaks 15 minutes, does it without too much strain, runs 4:47 pace on a fairly hilly course, and wins by 6.5 seconds over Owen Kelly of Bentonville, with Graham Stevener of Kirkwood third.
You took the name Satchel Paige right out of my mouth, because nothing was gaining on him. Well, the 2024 Hoka Postal Nationals program is off and running, as hundreds of teams across the country are already competing for state and national bragging rights. Join in on the fun this fall. Run a 2-mile or 3,200 on the track. Record your team's top 5 times for the varsity, sophomore, and freshman levels, and submit them to HokaPostalNationals.com before November 2nd. Coaches can enter your team in Hoka Postal Nationals, and you'll earn a free pair of shoes. See how your squad stacks up this fall with Hoka Postal Nationals. More to come from Fayetteville. You're watching live coverage of the 2024 Chili Pepper Cross Country Festival, presented by Hoka on runnerspace.com.
Save the date, mark your calendar. Wednesday, December 8th.